For all musicians like you, skilled in composition, always looking for novelty and curious to learn every existing techniques. In this video, we realize together the fugue number 2 of the Langloz manuscript. A warm welcome to this exciting series on the Langloz manuscript. In this video and throughout this series, I will give you tools that will be very useful for you to learn improvisation and composition in the style of the fugue. Today, the study of the fugue, unfortunately, still takes place through the use of verbose, bizarre and theoretical 19th and 20th century treatises, which have very little to do with the way in which the art of the fugue was taught through the 17th and the 18th century. During this golden age of the fugue, pupils learned to write and improvise fugues thanks to the Partimento method. This, in fact, represents an excellent synthesis between harmony, counterpoint and musical forms. In the 18th century, the pupil, like you today, thanks to these videos, learned to write and to improvise fugues starting from a part that was given to him by the master, the Partimento. In our vast panorama of partimenti, and more specifically the fugal ones, Langloz manuscript stands out. The Langloz manuscript is a collection of fugues, preludes and fugues in partimento, in many styles, forms and levels. Although they are relatively simple partimento fugues compared to those of the Neapolitan school, they have a large number of important, fundamental and very useful elements, and they present themselves as the most effective solution for those who ardently want how to write fugues using the Partimento method. To offer you the best experience in this long journey you are about to embark with me, I've prepared for you, for each fugue, a special worksheet containing the old clef Partimento as in the original manuscript, the same Partimento in modern clefs, the Partimento fitted on the grand staff on which I'll write thanks to my tabula compositoria, and a blunt staff version you can use for your personal realization. All this because, I remind you, my mission is to guide you, being close to you, through learning the art of composition and improvisation, according to three principles that are the three fundamental values of my work: clarity, simplicity and fun. For each video you can download the related worksheet, which will be your companion for each of the videos, from the link in the description of the relative video, which will refer you to the related post on Patreon. So, are you ready now to begin your adventure through the ancient pages of the Langloz manuscript? Download the PDF and let's start working together! Imagine to be on the stairs of one of the 4 conservatories of the 18th century Naples. Today is your day of lesson, and you know that a very important challenge awaits you: writing a fugue. You enter the classroom and, not having time to close the door, the great master Francesco Durante approaches you imposingly and hands you this sheet without saying a word. Immediately you feel blocked, immobile and paralyzed. You don't know where to start from. But you know that Francesco Durante believes in you. Then you decide to take courage and to challenge this sheet. You sit down at the harpsichord, you take your pencil and eraser, and you start working. You look at the first line of your sheet, and immediately many other doubts, questions and perplexities arise in you. Where do I start? What does this thing mean? How should I proceed? Right now, the precious resource I've prepared for you will come to your aid. The PDF worksheet with all the useful tools you need to start this exciting journey with me now. To do this, we will follow a linear, clear and a solid method. This method consists of 3 stages: decode, profile and install. In decode, we go searching all the elements that the Partimento provides us, in order to better understand the terrain and the ground we are working on. In profile, we make a profile of the entire Partimento, linking all the elements together, understanding their function within the exercise, and cataloging the style in which this Partimento is written. Finally, in install, we apply all the elements that we have collected in decode to the parts we have to complete in the Partimento, in a consistency way with the profiling that we have done previously. Through this install phase, I'll be very close to you, and you will write on the worksheet with me. Thanks to this method, you will learn even just copying and understanding, using the power of your mirror neurons. So, enough talk, prepare yourself, and let's start. Alright, so here the manuscript in old clefs, and here the version in modern clefs with the ground staff system, here with the modern clefs manuscript, here all the notes fitted on the ground staff, and at the end a blank staff you can use for your personal realization. Our first phase in this work is, do you remember it? Decode. We have to decoding all the elements we can find in this Partimento. So let's start from the beginning. We have, in this case, a fugue and the subject here. We are, first of all, in C minor. So we write the aspect key, that is C minor. As you can see, we have only 2 flats and we don't have the A flat, so B flat and E flat only. The reason is that this kind of writing comes from the modal tradition, where in the first mode, that is the modern B minor, we have nothing in the key. We don't have the B flat. When it is necessary, the composer used to write it. And the B flat works as a Fa super La, Di Re, Mi Fa Sol La Fa La, and a tone down. So in C minor, like this in this case, the Fa super La is A Fa. There is an entire lesson dedicated on the Fa super La, the lesson number 8 in my Solmisation Super course. Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Fa. And for this we don't have the A flat in the key. Here our subject. The subject terminates here. So we call subject 1 because it's on the first degree. And after the subject, a little conjunction brings us to the new subject starting from G, so S5, at the 5th degree in the altus. Alt means not stop or alt, but altus. And the previous melody is up to you or me now to realize it. And we will see later how to do it. Now we have the subject in G minor, so exactly. And then the same movement we have here, we find now that helps us to return back to C minor. As you can see, we have a semitone lip here and a minor third lip here. The difference in these 2 points of the lip, semitone and third, is because in the first case we are going a 5th up. So the melody itself is the same. But here we have to go at the 5th degree, to go up in our circle of the 5th. And here we have to go down at the left of our circle of the 5th. So from G minor to C minor. And as you can see, this A flat helps us to come back to C minor, because in C minor we have the A flat according to the modern theory of the keys. Then tenor, perfect. Then we have the subject here. And exactly the same happens in this point. Bass, so this voice is in the bass. We will play it with the pedal board. Yes. And the same melody from A flat that brings us again to C minor, but with another thing. But now let's focus here. We have the subject 1, starting from C, that is the 1st degree, subject, so the little passage, the conjunction, subject or codetta. This is called in modern theory codetta, or also in musical composition theory, codetta or coda, because it follows a part. So the coda is the last part of a melody. We have here the bass with the subject S5, because it starts on the G, the 5th degree. Okay, and here the first phrase, the first part, that is the exposition, concludes. And then, as you can see, we have this part that works as an episode, so a progression. With a beautiful cadence to E flat major. Then we have, so let's write it, episode. Let's write here first exposition. And now we have another exposition, and actually here, because we have the treble clef, we only have to play what is written. But since in fugues we usually have another subject, a second subject, that is fitted with the first one, what we call now today as counter subject, this part is really interesting because we have this melody, I highlight in red, that can be a really good inspiration for us as our counter subject. And the same we have here, as we will see now. So 2, suspension, 2, 3. It's important to understand the numeration. I write here the numeration. So we have the 3 with the flat, then 2, resolution 3, that becomes 6, 3, 3, 5, 3, so 3, 8, 5, 3, and F. So we have the subject again here, S. In this case, the subject is starting from F. So it's a subject in F minor. We call it S4 because F is the fourth degree of C minor. S4. Then we have a progression that brings us a progression that works like a monte. In fact, we pass from A flat, natural A, so then we have this, that is a B flat measure, so chords in root position according to modern harmony are. Then, okay, this passage, here we have G minor, G major, that brings us back to C minor. In fact, we see here the subject of our fugue starting from the C, so S1, here in the bass. And we will play this as the bass. Exactly. Now, we call this part episode, but to be fair, the real episode starts from this point, because this works like a new exposition from F minor to C, from the F minor subject to the end of the C minor subject. We have the little conjunction in the middle that helps us to pass from F to C. And C is the fifth degree of F, F, C, as at the beginning, G is the fifth degree of C. And here we can see another episode. Okay, we will go more in depth about the numeration and how to realize it in the last part of our realization, so in the installing process. And here another subject, the same subject, starting from 1, so S1. And as you can see, we have the same numeration and the same counter subject, if you want to call it this way. So we have the 3 with the flat, but the E flat is actually in the key. Then 2, 6, 2, that becomes 3, then 6, then the same, 3, 8, 5, 3, 8. Then a little conjunction brings us again to the 5th degrees, so the subject here in the tenor. So we will play this part with the hand, with the left hand, S5, because it starts on G, and G is the 5th degree. And then, as you can see, thanks to the ending part of this subject, another sequence starts following the pattern. Alright. arriving to a beautiful cadence to E flat major. So we have here an episode after this new exposition. Episode. This is the new exposition. So we have the first exposition here, the second exposition here, and the third exposition here. Now another episode. And then for continuing the exposition, we have a solo, another solo with a treble clef, so we can play it. And this point, the bass enters. For the last time, we have the subject starting from the 4th degree, so S4. And we have the same we had previously. So the subject in F minor, and starting from this figure, another sequence. And from this point, the final part that brings us to the final cadence. So we have the solo that belongs to the episode, this episode. What we can do on the solo, as we will do later, is applying maybe, even if not in writing, in playing, diminutions, for example, this way. This depends on what elements we will use in the elaboration of our fugue. If we'll use, as I want to do, elements and figurations that are a little bit faster and flowing than this static fugue, we can do it. But first of all, before making the profile, be sure to have completed all the decoding process, recognizing all the necessary elements. So we have now the last part, that seems at the beginning as a Monte Romanesca, but this is not a Monte Romanesca because we have the cadence right now. It sounds like the Monte Romanesca because we have B flat, F, then C, and the G is what we need for the Monte Romanesca. So, if you want to know more about the Monte Romanesca, check my video about the Monte. Okay, so let's pass now to our second phase, the profiling phase. Perfect. The profiling we can do is connecting all the elements, and in my opinion, this is a fugue written in a more several style than the fugue we realized in the previous video about Langloz manuscript. So this is the reason why I'm playing this fugue on the organ, because this way we can write a fugue that belongs to the several style of solemnity and of the style of the church style. I like this fugue to play and realize this fugue in a really relaxed way, so not so fast, but this way. Imagine a solemn subject, and this will help us to apply figurations, faster figuration, flowing figuration that we can do if we play the fugue this way, and the style changes. Okay, we have all the elements we need for our installing process. There are some solos where we don't have to do anything. We have a 4-part fugues thanks to the indication cantus, tenor and bassus. And then we made the profile of this fugue, several style, fugue in the church style, not fast fugue, so flowing fugue, but not fast, stable, solid subject, stable and solid character. And now let's pass to the installing process and let's realize in practical our fugue. Perfect. Remember, you can download this PDF, download it because it's very useful, it's a really useful resource for you, and you can write with me a possible realization of this fugue. That is a possible realization, so you can write your own realization and then share it on our Partimento Discord. So, we have the first subject. And what can we write? Of course, the third, because this melody brings us to the B flat. Then, what can we write as a little counter subject? We can take inspiration from the counter subject we have here, the point I have highlighted in red. Because since this counter subject is in the bass, the 2 becomes a 7th according to the inversion property of intervals. What does it mean? It means that we need here the 6th as it's written, something like this. As we have in the counter subject. So 7th with the resolution. Yes, let's write the natural E this way. The resolution is on the G. And if we want to make the something like an imitation of this point, this is a possibility, a good possibility, because the counterpoint works. We arrive to the 3rd. Yes, if we look at the numeration, we have 6, 7th, then 3. That sounds a little bit strange, because the 7th usually resolves going down. So we can intend this numeration as the harmony, the generic harmony, not a line in this case, not the melody. So this works exactly. Remember that 2 descending notes can be and usually must be dissonant and consonant according to the rule of the Renaissance counterpoint. In this case, it works because we are in a Baroque counterpoint, so in a later style, and the underlying structure is. So this works like a diminution of an underlying structure. Exactly. And for coming back to our new subject in C minor, we can use the chromaticism. Here. This way. Now, we have to install the counter subject in the second line, so in the altus, because You know, we start with the upper voice playing the melody, the subject. Then when the altus enters the play, the previous melody that was singing the subject sings the counter subject, and now the subject in the altus is necessarily followed by our counter subject, that is, I remind you, something like this, in this way, with the suspension 7, as we can see here. So 3 works, 6, 7, resolution or little diminutions of the 7th, this way. And now let's write the upper voice. Remember that when we write a voice that is in this case like a free voice, a free part, it's really important to write it as a melody and not as a voice to fill the harmony only. 7, we need the 3. If we have the 7th here, we need the 3. So a good solution is this. And here, so we go down for not having the 7th. Here we go to the D, and then 6. And now, as we did before, for making an imitation of this element, we can do it now. And it works because we have the A flat, G, F, and E, this way, going to the 3rd, according to the style. So, in this case, our 7th, this 7th, C, D, C, that must, according to the rules, resolve descending. If it's resolved descending, it resolves doubling the leading tone, and this is not the best solution we can do. So, we can do like a poetic license, this. Making it going up this way and then going down. I know the resolution is not exactly according to the PSR rule. The PSR rule, preparation, resolution, and suspension, is the rule for using dissonances in the right way. But this is what we can do according to the numeration, and a poetic license that really works good, as you will see in the other parts. So, what we can do here, because we are going to our G, and this melody finish on the B flat here, what we can do is an imitation of this part, maybe in the altus, in a mirroring imitation, this way. It works. And we can move the other voice, making this way a movement in like a chiasmo, so A, B rhythmically, and A, red, red, orange, orange. These are the good things, good tricks, and good elements, solutions and techniques we can apply in every context, according to the style of the fugue. Because this is an element that belongs to the Partimento, we can use it a lot of times for making our realization a really good realization. And now the counter subject is in this voice. So in the tenor, let's play it and let's write then. And here we can use the melody for going down. Exactly. And this is the finishing part of the exposition. So, we arrived to this point in this way. Let's write the counter subject. This way. And now let's write our alto melody. We can go with parallel thirds. So we can pause for a moment the upper voice. Is a good thing because the first voice was the altus. We can make now the altus rest a little bit with a rest. Yes, let's avoid the seventh, so let's go to the fifth this way. And yes, because we are going down, a solution can be here, going with parallel thirds, parallel sixths this way. We have to find now a way for connecting the two parts, but it's really simple. We can reaching here the third, then the bass, with the bass, 3, then we can go to the fifth, because it's contrary motion between the two upper voices. This way. And now we have a progression, a sequence. So let's look at the harmony. We have this part that is a conjunction because between our previous exposition and the real sequence, and the sequence that is block 1, block 2, and cadence. So let's write a masterful sequence. For example, let's use here the chromaticism, as we did before in this point. This way. Now, let's move this way the middle voice, jumping down a fifth and up a fourth. It is a pattern really used in the melodies, for writing melodies in the Baroque style, so we can use it. Down a fourth and down a fifth and up a fifth. And let's now reintroduce the cantus, the upper voice, this way. And we can transform actually this numeration in a more complex numeration, in a more challenging numeration. Like with the 6, with the 9 that resolves down to the 8, so resolution. Actually, this is a 9/8. We can, between the resolution, add the 5th down, 4th up according to what we did before. So, this way. Yes. So the G can stay here in the altus, and because we need here the E flat, we can play the diminution, so the conjunction, conjunction is better than diminution, the passing tone actually is the right word in this case, and a little scale this way, and the A flat here for having our F minor chord. So, yes, and the same here, a step down. So, this way, a step down. Here the scale starts from the B flat. This way. And what's happening now? Cadence, yes, because we have the G. It's beautiful according to the Bach style, having the dissonance, keeping the seventh here. So we can move. Yes, let's play the resolution of the seventh, and let's go down to the third. So 7, 5, 7, 5, 3, 5, 3. This is a good possibility. The upper voice. Yes. Can continue in parallel fourth than the upper voice, but we have the tenor. The tenor this way, playing parallel thirds than the altus, creates the faux-bourdon pattern that is really good and makes this parallel thirds sounds sweet. Yes, with the resolution. So I remember you that if you copy exactly what I'm doing, you can learn with in a passive way, understanding some possible harmonical and contrapuntal structures, because you see, this is a possibility, a possible realization. There are a lot of realizations we can do with this fugue, with this Partimento. We only have to realizing different versions, and one of them could be your version. So, yes. Because we have now the subject entering the upper voice, let's finish in this way. Let's make the cantus finishing in this way, in a softer way on the weak beat, okay? Then we can, well, yes, in this point, for example, because we have this cadence, I prefer having, because it's really a conclusive cadence, a counterpoint cadence from using the 4th degree, 4, 5, 1. So let's modify the bass. It is possible, we can modify the bass if we want. I prefer this because this way I can keep the E flat and making the tenor going down. I can use this pattern. Look, this figuration. That is familiar with this fugue. We have a lot of time, this figuration. Do you remember it? So, let's play this part. Because we don't have the first note of the subject, as I said, this is a subject in F minor. So it should start from the F, but because the cadence is to E flat major, we can make a little change at the beginning, making the subject start from the E flat, this way. So it's really powerful, the new entry, because if we are playing this on an organ, we can play the lower E. So we have a wide range. And then we have the solo. So let's play this fugue now from the beginning to this point, and let's listen how it sounds if we are doing a good work. Yes. Perfect. Let's continue. We don't have to write not anything. And here the new subject in the bass. So we have three voices: cantus, altus, and the bass. Let's write now the counter subject, for example, in the middle voice, so in the altus, because it's finishing with the C. As you can see, because the bass is really down in this part of the staff, or the grand staff, we can take the opportunity for jumping down and having a good equilibrated range of the three voices. This way, using the counter subject here, you remember the numeration, so we have the natural 3, then the 6th, 7th, with the diminution, and here, as we did before with the poetic license, because we have the leading tone, we can go up in this beautiful way, having this augmented fifth that works like an appoggiatura. Again, a wrong resolution according to the rules of the counterpoint of the suspension. And of course, this must resolve now. So, yes, if we want to apply a figuration, we can do it this way. And here we have our episode. So let's finish now our exposition. We have, yes, we can start from this point introducing new flowing figuration that are diminutions of figuration we already have. For example, this is the structure. Let's play something like it works. So let's start from this point. The structure is E and G, so let's connect E flat with the G. Then we can have the F, 7th with the bass 7th, and 3rd. Then we have this D, G, that is the 3rd of the bass, actually parallel thirds with the bass, G and F. Really struggling this augmented fifth. With our 9/8 suspension, 9/8 that becomes 9/6 because of the movement of the bass. About enumeration, I have made all the exercises by Handel in one exercise for each video, so watch these videos if you want to learn how to move the bass and the enumeration and all the figuration we can find in the basso continuo. Okay, let's write a diminution according to this figuration. Here we can do something like this. It really works well because we have the phrase going up. Then it stops here. Yes. Then we have the same representation because if we consider this part is the same, but with a different continuation, because as you can see we have the same, and then again the second time with variation. So this is another beautiful thing of Baroque composition, repeating the same thing but with a little variation, like in this case. Okay, this way. And here the tenor imitates. Okay, as you can see, I show you how we can install here a chain, the 2-3 chain on this bass. So we have this. Then if we keep the exactly this, we can have the D making 2. We can install this. So from this point, exactly. So two, 3, 2, 3. 2, 3, 2, 3, continuing here, arriving to our cadence to G minor as according to the F sharp. As you can see, we keep the numbers, but we add dissonances, because if we use the enumeration written, it's something really simple. For example, but can we do something more complex, more challenging, really skillful for who want to learn fugues like you? Yes, this way, using all the possible suspension we can add, like this one. But because we have a melody, and we have diminutions, let's divide this entire descending chain in at the place of 1, 1, 1, 1, because we have 4 times the same thing. Let's divide it in 2 plus 2 according to the subdivision of the bass. Something like this. Only using 2 times the same figuration but 2 times. So A plus A at the place of A plus A plus A plus A. In this way. So let's write again here. This way. And the opposite in the upper voice. The opposite, I mean, not at the same time, so shifted at the right. This way. Perfect. And now we only have to continue moving with 2 voices up to the new entry of the subject. Let's try something. We can go up this way. Okay, if I have a G here, I can use the suspension 4/3 according to what I have as numeration, so with the A. Let's add now the diminution this way. Okay, let's play here a melody for arriving to the A. Okay, and here an octave leap can be good. Yes. Imitation. Good. Imitation. Perfect. Now, I want you look at this passage. I have diminished fifth plus diminished fifth. And then I have 3 and 3. In this case, 2 diminished fifths consecutively are allowed, always, because they are not perfect fifths. That sounds hard, but 2 diminished fifths are really allowed. And we can connect in the right way to our downbeat on the next bar. So this will be a semi-minima in the bass. We have the suspension we can add here. And thanks to this note with a dot, we can arrive to this C. I mean the dot because this is not elegant. Moving 7, 7, but this way is good. So let's play from this point and let's go on. Perfect. And the same here, we play this melody that is in the tenor, actually, I think, because we have the last entry in the bass here on F. So let's reserve this to the tenor. Also this time, let's write our structure. So the counter subject, but with the diminutions we added before. Let's play now in this way. We can arrive to this point, so yes. As you can see, this figuration is the same we have here, but in G minor instead of C minor. So it really works well because it is consistency to the style and the elements we are adding to our Partimento. This time we can, at the place of, as we did at the beginning, arrive from the bottom, so this way, and I want now to make a succession exactly, or a sequence really struggling. So I want here the augmented chord. This is the structure of what I want to do. So with the appoggiatura that comes, this appoggiatura comes from the poetic license we used before here. Exactly. We can, because we have this element, we can reuse it as a diminution for making a beautiful realization of the Partimento, and not something like always something only academical or scholar, but a real good fugue as it was written in the 18th century. So this is the structure. This way. Exactly, and we can use the figurations, for example. The same figuration we used here. So let's combine now elements. This way. Let's go down, and now we have the sequence. Do you remember it? So we can do something like copy and paste in our sequence. The difference is that we don't have the leading tone here and here, as we have at this point, but it's not a problem. We only have to put the leading tone in one of the two upper voices. So this way. Perfect. Augmented fifth, eighth, and in this case we have to go down to the leading tone. Okay, and the upper voice is the same, a step lower, obviously. And the same. With the A flat. exactly, and the downbeat. So yes, let's play again from this point. And then the solo. And now the last part. Here, the challenging element, the challenging thing we can do is adding stratus. You know, not in all the fugues it's possible to add stratus, and in this fugue it's not the best solution. But I found a way for adding a stretto that really works well. Look, be careful and pay attention on what I'm doing. So we have the subject starting from the F in the bass. Then we can have the subject starting from the C in this point. First of all, let's write the resolution of the voice at this point. If I play this, yes, okay, we can play here a stretto. Look, F works with the bass. The C doesn't work, because it's a fourth. But if we can consider this chord as, according to the modern theory, a C major seventh chord, we can make this fourth works, adding in some parts the natural E that we actually have here and the third, the B flat. So the subject can work with some tricks. Let's do them. For example, I need a voice here playing this C, 3, 3, and if I write this A flat here, B flat, A flat will be parallel octaves. So we have to make this voice going to the F this way. And we can apply, for example, the diminution we used here in this way. This way. As you can listen, now it works because we have the third, then the bass, with the bass, the chord that works as a dominant chord, and now it works, the stretto. And because we have the same here in C minor, we can do it again, starting with, because A flat, F is a sixth, we can have a sixth here, so the stretto in the alto, the subject in the alto, so we have here to pause the alto, the cantus voice, my bad, I mean the cantus. But first of all, let's play a conjunction between the two voices, so yes, if I want here something like this movement, I can do in the tenor that was not singing, so I have to make the tenor enter. This. Now look, be careful. Here I have this chord. The author of this Partimento writes the natural C, so 3/5 chord with the natural C. Personally, because of this element I want to have, it is not possible. So I have to use another realization. What's the problem at this point? The problem is that this fourth is a dissonance. So the only case we can have a dissonance as a fourth is when we have, for example, a seventh chord. If we have this, and then this, C, F, E flat, and A, it can work because we have the seventh prepared. So it's the second inversion of a seventh chord. That is, in basso continuo, for example, or in the rule of the octave, the chord we have of the second degree, the 3/4/6 chord, without the major sixth, but with the minor sixth. So I need the E flat this way, and working an appoggiatura, if we consider this as an appoggiatura, especially this, I'm talking about the E flat, but on this movement, we can make it work. For example, in this way, okay, we add the dot, and the resolution here. Okay. Let's use the chromaticism we used at the beginning at this point, because we have this movement we can do. Chromaticism again, that sounds really good. The E here can go down to the D, and here let's pause the upper voice. So, and the C is prepared. Perfect. Okay, now let's play the imitation of this point with the Fa super La, that in F minor is the D flat, because Di Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Fa, La. Perfect. Let's apply now the chromaticism here again, this way. Okay, the A flat goes to the C, and let's move all the diminutions a step higher. So this melody, this diminutions now is played by the altos. This way. Perfect. And I remember you here our subject in stretto. Perfect. The middle voice can play a pause here, a rest here, okay, in this way. So let's play this part. Stretto. Perfect. And now we can continue up to the cadence this way. Because we have these diminutions here in the tenor, then in the altos, let's play them now. In the upper voice. So we need 3 and 3 because they are based on 3, 3, 3 and 3 with the bass. In this way, exactly. So, yes, let's feel now the harmony. Something like this. So, the altos sings this, arriving to the C, and the tenor continues, arriving to the third. This is a style that comes from the style brisé, typical of the lute. Exactly. Yes. And the same here, imitation in the altos. Let's go up to the sixth. We can go down here for moving voices. This works as a 2-4-6 chord. Let's use the tie for having this note. This C is really useful for us because it helps us to having the suspension here with, again, the poetic license I talked about you before. So in this case, the poetic license is the resolution that goes up is something that belongs to the style of this fugue, if we want to realize this fugue this way. So we can play the resolution of the ninth we have here, or better, the second here. Exactly. So the altus is going down. Possibility is F. So 3, 8, it works. Okay, the G is a good solution, and the unison. In this way we have also this pattern that is going up. Yes, look, we have this pattern, this melody that is going up, and the bass is going down. So we have a combination of different elements, really, really interesting, and a combination of opposite movements in a progression. This is how Bach used to think counterpoint in music. We have to find a progression that moves together in blocks, talking about blocks, but within the blocks itself, the voices can move in opposite motions. So, perfect. Let's go now here, having the fourth. So we need the fourth that is prepared from this point. 3. F, then we have to go to the C minor chord. We can do this parallel, yes, parallel thirds between the upper voice and the bass, and the tenor, this way exactly. Then we have our arriving point is the F in the bass, so we can arrive to the A flat with the remaining voice, so the altus that is not singing here. When we have this, we can start from a parallel thirds pattern and then playing the diminutions. For example, yes, in this way, continuing the ascending movement. Longer C, so beautiful seventh, and here we can continue the melody, the flowing of the melody with the altus, with the cantus, sorry. With a new syncopation elements that at the end works good. Yes. This way. Yes, the C we have here for having the B, natural B that is the leading tone, can play this as a neighbor tone. Then we need this chord. Really struggling. Beautiful, and then classical ending cadence. So with the A flat, D, yes, this way. And the resolution with the major chord, because this is really a strong fugue. D, F, E, D. This way. And the fugue is complete. Let's play again the ending part. So from this point, here I want to be sure that all is good. Okay. Exactly. Here a movement is better for having the E flat on the weak beat, exactly. Another G is good. Perfect. And this time too, let's listen how it sounds from the beginning. Perfect! As you have just experienced, thanks to this clear, linear and solid method, you too have written a fugue today. And maybe it was your first fugue. Now all what you have to do is to make another realization of this fugue, using the blank stuff you can find in the worksheet. And then share this video with all your friends, colleagues and musicians who want to learn the art of the fugue in an innovative way, based on the pedagogical traditions of the Baroque period. Because from today, the way to learn harmony, partimento and fugue thanks to the many precious resources that I have provided, I provide and I will provide you, now it's within everyone's reach.